have a quorum, so I call this Clark County School Board of Education regular meeting to order on July 24th. I'd like to welcome everyone, and like to stand with a moment of silence followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Now the pledge. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First item up is the review of the agenda. Any additions, comments?
Is Ashley on?
No, not yet.
I don't know how, I want to ensure that there is 3 other people besides me who can approve the National Youth Advocate Program memorandum of understanding or agreement, because that is my employer and I have to disqualify myself. But I don't want us to not approve it because school starts in 3 weeks and we won't have another meeting until after. It's like under student learning. I asked to move it out of the consent items.
It's the first, it's the first thing under you.
I just want to make sure that we have 3 people. Oh, we're good. We're
We're
good.
good? Okay.
Sorry.
No, that's good. No, that's all good. Any other comments or additions? If not, do we have a motion to adopt the agenda?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Mr. Dorsey,
I'll second.
second by Mr. Bennett. All in favor?
Aye.
Passes 4-0. Next is consider approval of minutes for the June 27, 23 regular meeting. Any comments?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from June 27th.
Motion by Mr. Dorsey. Do I have a second? I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Pass 4-0. Next is public comments. Any public comments? Can someone take a look?
You're good.
Okay. No comments. Okay.
Thanks, sir.
Next is student learning instructional services. First item is consider approval of the National Youth Advocate Program Memorandum of Agreement. It's Abby McCormick. And welcome.
Hi, how are you all?
Good.
Good. Okay, so you all have, like we just shared, the memorandum of agreement with, I believe Allison Nelson calls it NIAP, so the National Youth Advocate Program, and this is just an additional agency that we have used, I believe, previously to provide extra mental health services for some of our students across the district.
Any questions? Comments?
I need to disqualify myself as a voting member of the board because it's my employer.
Okay. I'll make a motion to adopt. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Dorsey. All in favor? Passes 3-0. Next is consider approval of updated special education policies and procedures from KSBA.
Okay, and so the next, exactly like you said, you kind of had a cheat sheet that was also submitted with this where just the highlights of the changes, and this is something that is done with KSBA. I believe the last time that this was done was 2009. And so some of the changes are the CCPSD is now just CCPS. Some of the format adjustments in the document and also the appearance. And then the section regarding ARC membership as well as procedural safeguards and state complaint procedures were updated.
Any comments, questions? Do we have a motion?
I'll make the motion to approve the updated special education policies and procedures from KSBA.
Motion by Mr. Dorsey, second.
I'll second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Passes 4-0.
Ashley's on now.
Is she on? Ashley, can you hear us?
Yes.
Okay. Can you see everybody?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. All right. All right. Did you vote on that last one? If you did, I apologize, I didn't hear you.
Yes.
Okay, so let's change that to 5-0. You did vote to approve that? Just make.
Do what?
You voted yes to approve?
Yes.
Okay, just thought you did, just want to make sure. Okay, next item, student support services. Consider approval of 2023-24 Code of Conduct. Ms. Bush.
Good evening. This is our yearly approval of the Code of Conduct. There are only a few differences in last year from this year. The 8 sections are divided equally and labeled just for organizational purposes. The link will go live, if approved, onto the CCPS site. Mr. Dustin Howard has been added as your superintendent. In the very last page, parent confirmation of review. And we added the code of conduct and the student handbook can be found. And then we've added the grade and the school of the child and the parent's signature and date from the very back page where the schools keep that on record that everyone has read and approved before school starts.
Any questions or comments?
Will we be sending these home like the first week of school, like the packet of it?
It is live where they can see that. The only page that goes home is the very
Oh,
back.
okay.
For those families that possibly will need these, we will, for any purpose that they might have to have that, or in a different language or something like that, but it will be online.
That's great. That'll save us lots of money on
Lots of
paper.
paper. Lots of trees.
Do we have a motion?
I make a motion to approve. the-
Motion by Ms. Hall, second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Bennett. All in favor?
Aye.
Pass 5-0.
Thank you.
Next is consider approval of the individual school student handbooks for the 2023-24 school year.
So this year, we have looked at each handbook as an individual. These schools, all of our schools have wonderful individual things that go on every single day and sometimes evenings. So we wanted to make sure that they did include those and be as individual, even though we're one district, to honor themselves and their hard work. So if we want to start, is it okay if I just tell you the changes?
Yeah,
Is that
yeah,
the way
I
you
think,
like it?
yeah, I
Okay.
would love the format. I think there were several comments about the
Absolutely.
format when we
Wonderful.
got our packet. It was, love how every school's branded, by their school and how everything is laid out. So, good job.
Well, this was a
Routine.
joint effort. We started by stealing it from Miss Pippin with one of her templates that she had.
Uh-huh.
So it was totally a teamwork effort. There's not one person that didn't have their hands in it, but thank you very much. I'll just use Baker as the number one to go, and then everything else can follow suit. So if you look at each individual handbook all the way to the weather, so no matter what slide, once you get to weather and beyond, they are the same for every school. It is policies, procedures, academics, enrollment, IC information. All of those items are the same throughout. So if you want to start in any of the handbooks with the very first pages, you're going to see the vision and the mission, the beliefs, the school calendar. Of course, some school times have changed. You'll see a letter from the principal or the entire admin team. You'll see all contacts for the school, so a parent could either click live on there or find a phone number. You'll see their grading and eligibility. I know last year we had a K through 8, but eligibility for sports did not really have anything to do with our little bitties from our kindergarten to our 6th grade, of course, can play at. So that is why you will see some eligibility issues that are different in Baker's 6th grade and up, because it applies to them. You'll see their drop-offs and pickups are different in each school. Their master schedules, their athletics or clubs or any type of extracurricular things that go on in their buildings. And then you will get, eventually, to the weather page, and from there on out, it is, I don't want to use the word generic because that's not, it's traditional within every single handbook. There have been some additions that you will see within those similarities. Mrs. Fiffen has added a lot to her academics piece. We have added some MTSS and mental health and social emotional learning. And we also have added some community partnerships that we have. So those things are going to be a little different in the back slides for every school, but they are the same in every handbook. But those are different from last year.
Absolutely love this. Yeah. Makes it so much easier.
Oh, it does, doesn't it? And these will be posted on each individual school's website, correct?
And the Clark County Public Schools once you've approved.
Okay.
Of course, GRC will be our largest. Once again, they start on page 24. Most of the schools start about 11-ish, 9 or 11 with the weather, but they have so much to include with their large population that their weather and on starts about slide 24. They also have a motto, take the lead, that you'll notice right before Mr. Toy's letter to the families. Of course, his contact page is new. School times. The testing dates are going to be added in there since they have so many federal testings for AP and, of course, ACT. Their cell phone policy has changed.
In what way has it changed?
It is out of sight, out of mind, kind of is the way it was described. If you would like to ask Mr. Toy if that's okay with Mr. Howard, we can do that. But we don't want anything that's going to be a barrier or something that will conflict with education and academics and getting the reason that we're there for our students. So anything that would harbor that, and you, as you all know as well as we do, that cell phones can be a deterrent, and we're there for a purpose, and we don't need any distractions. He's not saying that you can't have them. He's saying that during academic time, that's what we need to be focusing on is academic. Because as you know, we're one-to-one Chromebook. So the hallways, the lunch times, you know, they're welcome. Did I say that right? Did I get that in a nutshell?
If not, Mr. Toy's prepared with a 5-minute synopsis. To take the lead initiatives, but if you want to ask, that's fine. He's fired up.
Well, as a high school mother, I am fired up and excited at that too. So I think it's a very good policy. I support it 110%. So, good job.
I do have a question on one of the activities and clubs. Claws and paws? What is that?
That's a great question.
I asked Mr. Howard if it was okay to ask that question before, so he put me up to it.
I will find that information.
See, it's a test if you didn't know. I'll just make something up, check.
I think it's,
I would imagine.
yeah, I'm sure it's probably something like that. Sorry. Yeah.
This is so much.
Hey, first board meeting, I had to do something right.
Hey there, newbie.
Any other questions that you might have? I know it was a lot of reading, but I think they're well organized and everybody got to, you know, express their individuality, but also keeping it as a district, and it shows off all the great things they do.
Yeah, I absolutely love, yeah, that they've got, you got math, you got every contact you possibly could want. I mean, made it pretty easy for them.
A lot nicer than before. A lot.
Thank you.
And I think that, so if it's a parent who's got a little, you know, that maybe is coming in and has an IEP or they're on the RTI, that sort of thing, they're able to look in that handbook and really understand it, because I struggled with that when my child was little, not understanding it. So, but I love this, and I think that there should be no complaints about this, because you have every possible piece of information that you need, and it's easy to get to. You can get to it on your cell phone, so once it goes live, so, yeah.
Now, the only thing that I would ask is the live links are not embedded in here yet. So if you're approving this tonight, it will be with all the live links added. And anything that's live would be, even our school calendar will go right back. Mr. Kaysen helps us with that and goes to the live CCPS. Or the code of conduct will be linked, now that you've approved it, straight if they want to read it in full. So we're trying to make it at a fingertip. So things like that will be added. But if there's anything major, then of course we'd have to come back and ask you.
Okay. Thank you. Any other comments? Have a motion?
I'll move.
Motion by Mr. Bennett,
I'll second.
second by Ms. Hall. All in favor?
Aye.
Didn't hear you, Ashley.
Aye.
Oh, thank you. Passes 5-0.
Thank you very much.
And consider approval of 2023-24 transportation handbook. Mr. Snell.
We made a few changes to the transportation handbook. Most of it's fairly minor. We changed a few of the wording in there to will, we changed it to may. One of them being, if the driver misses 13 days, they will lose their route. Change that to may. If they've got a good reason for missing 13 days, then I don't think we're gonna pull their route from them. Same thing with the trip requests. It said if they didn't have the trip request in by 7 days, it will not be approved. And we changed that to may not be approved. If we can fulfill the trip request, we'll do everything we can to fill it, whether they get it in 7 days or not. The extracurricular rotation list, changed the driver pay was $16 an hour in the old handbook. Our current practice was to pay the drivers their regular daily wage, so we've changed that to reflect that. And all the FMD notation, is near the back, has been changed to MSD to reflect current special ed. What am I, I'm looking for a word there.
Terminology.
Terminology, there you go.
Any questions, comments? I'll make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Dorsey. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Ashley, did you approve?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. 5-0. I think we got a little lag time from time you unmute to, I think we're just missing that, your motion. Next is consider approval of, I'm going to pronounce this wrong, Samsara software purchase.
Yep. It's a 3-year agreement. It's $48,531.60 per year. It does replace a program that we were paying over $24,000 for. I think we can make up the extra cost in what this program does for us, just with the idling part of it, monitoring that. From January to May, we wasted 7,000 gallons of fuel just on idling. That right there, the cost of that will pay for the rest of this program. We will run reports weekly on idling. It also monitors driver behavior, harsh turns, harsh braking. It will alert them if they pick up their cell phone. It will alert them and tell them to put their cell phone down. If they do it twice, then it sends a message to me. Same thing with inattentive driving. They can pick that up, picks up no seatbelt. You know, and it will remind them to put their seatbelt on until they put it on. Yeah.
Well, I felt after talking to Mr. Howard, this was, I guess tested it for a period of time.
Yes.
And with the financial audit, the transportation audit
Yes.
that we did, we came out with all those financial savings, so. Does anybody have any questions?
So it is the same program that we did the trial on with the EduLog on the phone, cell
Yes.
phone and all that? Okay,
EduLog requires this to run,
okay.
or something similar.
So just so I'm this isn't the same program that actually we rolled out for parents to be able to see.
You use this
We
program,
use this
yes.
program, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's,
Yes.
just want to make sure, okay. So parents can actually see when buses are coming for everyone,
Yes.
kids here. They can see when the buses are coming instead of keep dropping their kids off at the bus stop 10, 15 minutes. They know when the bus comes in the neighborhood. and They can download that.
It was really accurate too. I used it every morning to make sure mom got out the door, so it was very useful. So I imagine for parents of little kids, how useful that would be. Not
Yeah.
have out in the cold and that sort of
It'll
thing.
save a bunch of time. You're not gonna be sitting there waiting at the front door for
Right.
20 minutes.
Right.
Yeah. Any more comments or have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve, the Samsara software purchase.
Motion by Mr. Dorsey, a second.
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Hall, all in favor? Aye. Passes 5-0. Consider approval of agreement between GIS and Clark County Public Schools.
All right, Mr. Stephen Berry here is here tonight to talk about this agreement that the board has had with Clark County GIS Consortium in the past. The board has supported them financially, so he's here to talk about that agreement tonight.
Thank you. I'm not sure if I have a PDF file up on the system, but yeah, so this is showing the GIS services that we've performed in the past fiscal year. And the main part of that service cost is the data maintenance portion, because there is a large amount of resources that go to just maintaining that information, having it available to everyone. And that's the standard data maintenance rate that we use for our partners in our organization. And our partners are the Clark County PBA office, Clark County, City of Clark County Fiscal Court, the City of Winchester, Winchester Municipal Utilities. And we provide services to them for operations and maintenance. And in the past, for the schools, we've done services such as helped redistrict the elementary schools, and we're hopefully coming up soon, we're going to be helping redistrict the school board districts, and in conjunction with the Clark County Clerk and the County Board of Elections, we'll be doing that as well. And we've been providing these services to the school board under 7 different superintendents, started going back to Bob Lee, and since 2002, we've had this agreement standing with the school board. And we never really have been able to break out of the traditional services that we've been doing, which is just ad hoc kind of as needed maps. So your safety officers may come to us and we may provide a plan for a school site that they can use for pre-planning for emergency events and things like that. We might, if you're refinishing a parking lot, we might provide some site maps for that parking lot so that your operations people can get a better understanding of how much materials are required and things of that nature. We can also, we have in the past, and we can provide transportation. Darren and his system with the current road center lines and current addresses. We maintain an address database for the entire county. So you can have all your students located at their actual house location. And we have in the past taken the role from your school database and located all the students under using different criteria, whether it be socioeconomic criteria or whatnot. And we can help visualize some of those patterns that you have going on in your school districts. And I'm just here to, we were supposed to come probably in March or April to make this request, but there's a lot of moving pieces this past year. So we're here now to answer any questions that you guys might have on what we can do and what we can do moving forward. Another thing I'd like to say is that in the past, we have approached the principals and the teachers at the schools to kind of inject mapping and geographic information into their coursework, but that requires a whole lot of communication that we really haven't gotten established. So I think there's a lot of opportunities here for the schools to use our system and the resources available to them through my office. And I've talked to the superintendent and to Brandon Watkins about perhaps, strengthening that that tie going forward so that we can make the most out of your contribution and give you the most value that you can get out of that partnership. So, does anybody have any questions?
No, I think that would be great if we could figure something out to utilize the services for the kids. Were you talking about mainly like all schools, or just maybe RDC in high school, or what did you kind of envision there?
Well, currently, we're looking to be adopted by any teacher anywhere at any school to sit down and there are small plans. Say you're doing a history unit in one of your third grade. I don't just pick a grade. Then the kids could actually have a map or make a map about that unit. If you're studying like battles or you're studying where different historical figures came from, well, you can put them at their location on a map and they can get a visualization of how things are, how people and space are related. And that's small end. And we could also roll it up to being actually a vocational type of situation where kids who are at your vocational school learn how to, my office runs a server, an internet server, and we do a lot of IT kind of work just to get that up and running and keep it up and running. So there's opportunities there for kids to learn how to set up a GIS server using the technology that they have at their fingertips. And really there are program and site licenses available to K through 12 school systems that give you access to software for no cost. Ooh. And so the kind of software that I use that costs me $13,000 a year is available to the schools at no cost through a vendor that we use. So, and they're just doing that as a public service effort to get their technology into the schools, of course, but also to help bolster public education in K through 12. So there's a lot of opportunities, and I don't see it growing over the next year real quick, but at least we could slowly roll it out and see how it goes and see how far we can push the partnership.
Yeah, so I know you come every year, so hopefully next year you have an update for us on what if the needle's moved at all.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to make sure I understand. So you're asking for $32,000. However, as the school year goes on, there might be requests that come to you and from this school system, and you add that on. Is that how it works?
No. Currently, the way it works, we're asking for $32,000. That's correct. But until it reaches the point where our staff is burdened to a point where we have to ask for a larger contribution, anything that any phone call that you as the board or the administrative staff of the schools, that's all covered under that $32,000. So there's not additional costs above and beyond that. Now, granted, next year, if we come and you guys have used it a lot, then we may have to request more of a contribution next time. But under that $32,000 is just a standing agreement for my office to support the operations and maintenance and the administrative functions of the schools and investigate what we can do in the school classrooms. So.
Well, it seems like a really good partnership, and so I mean, I have no problem with it. I think it's needed. We have to have this service, especially as our community continues to grow, because I know there are several neighborhoods that are coming in, being built, that sort of thing, and all those things that you talked about is important. I was just trying to understand the first form that has like map of reunification plan for GRC. Like there's just very small amounts of money, and I guess I just thought that maybe if that was needed, then the school system just ask you for that, or is that when you say that's a lot of extra work and we need a little extra money? I'm just trying to understand how that process happens.
Yeah, and that services listing that you showed is a kind of a cost benefits analysis types of table. So to show you the value that you're getting for your if you're paying $32,000, then that table would just show you how much extra value you got for that $32,000.
So I got you now. I'm thank you for the clarification.
Yeah.
I was a little confused. But that makes total sense now. So.
But, of course, the dream of my board has always been that the schools would come on as a full funding partner, but that's a long time in the future. But this is another opportunity for us to start strengthening our partnership with the schools.
Absolutely. Thank you. That
All right,
makes
thank
me
you.
feel like now I totally understand it. So.
Right.
So I'm a little confused. In the meeting notes, it says 32, but the spreadsheet has 40.
And that's why I was explaining to her that spreadsheet is just showing the added value of the $32,000 that you've already paid for. So this is the services that we have rendered over the last fiscal year, and all that is covered under the $32,000 agreement from last fiscal year. This just shows
A little slow tonight, I guess. Right?
we have a price policy that my office follows, and these are just the services that we provide, and the costs are calculated by our price policy. And those are not things that we have billed out to you individually. All of those services were covered under your $32,000 agreement. So. And we're hoping that, as this year rolls on, maybe that 40,000 will become, 80,000, and you're still under that 32,000 agreement, so that we get more use, you'll get more value out of it. And we're just trying to put actual numbers to the services that we provide, so that you can see that there is a value there.
Did we budget for this?
Yes.
We did. Okay, we don't. Okay, just one. Cool. Any more questions or comments? If not, we'll make. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
We have a motion by Ms. Hall. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second by Mr. Bennett. All in favor?
Aye.
Passes 5-0.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you for
Thank you, Ms.
coming.
Berry, appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you to our PBA officer, Ms. Jada Brady.
Yeah.
Call her out a little bit. Appreciate you being here.
Yeah, thank you all.
Anytime, happy back anytime.
Next item is consider approval to raise transportation garage supervisor's wage by $3 an hour and mechanics wage by $2 an hour. Mr. Smith.
And this falls in line with the audit that we did January through May. The auditor recommended raising their pay to remain competitive. I agree with it. I think when we raise the driver's pay, I think the mechanics probably deserve a pay raise. If you look at the prices with diesel mechanics go for it nowadays, it's a lot. I think it's well deserved. The overall cost for the district would be roughly $26,000.
Is this sustainable? For
If we continue to follow the lines of the audit.
audit? Okay.
So did you say the total expense was 26,000?
Total, it would be pay and benefits was roughly $26,000 per
Okay.
year. Is what it would cost
It's
us.
just, it's different on our thing. On our- So in my understanding is we had a conversation during our last regular meeting about school bus drivers and that sort of
Yep.
thing. And then we talked about this, but we didn't approve it
Correct.
at that time. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay.
So our notes to Ms. Hall's point is asking to raise transportation garage supervisor by $2 an hour and mechanics by $1 an hour. I'm assuming we changed that to $3 and $2.
Yes.
That's what we want.
I just changed it.
Huh?
I just updated it in the meeting.
Okay. Okay. Anybody have any comments?
I just want to, so when we looked at all the wage studies that you all have, the department has done, and this was one of the last ones that we've looked at. I want everyone, if they're listening, to understand this is something that we talked about before, and that when you look at the amount, it sounds like a big amount, but in the end, these are specialized positions. You have to know what you're doing. I sure couldn't go be a diesel mechanic. I would have no idea. I'd mess every one of them up. I think we just want to make sure that for people listening, that this is something we've looked at every job in the school system, and this is one we just somehow, the last meeting, it kind of fell off. Is that correct, Mr. Howard?
That's correct. So we finished our first round of our wage studies. So everyone in the district got a pay raise starting July 1. A lot of things that you had approved previously didn't go in effect until July 1 with the new budget. So we're trying to meet the needs of kids, and to do that, you have to attract high-quality folks, and you've got to keep them. And that's what we're doing. When we get down the road, will we have to look at it again? Yes, because the economy is ever changing, and it's a competitive place. But right now, I feel confident with the raises we've made to make a living wage for our folks and to keep good people. So we just had to tidy this up.
Yes. Thank you.
Any other comments? If not, I'll make a motion to approve raise for transportation garage supervisor wage by $3 an hour, mechanics wage by $2 an hour.
I'll second that.
Second by Mr. Dorsey. All in favor?
Hi.
Passes 5-0. Next is financial and human resource update, acknowledgement of monthly Clark County Public Schools financial update. Ms. Ellis.
Good evening, everyone. So this is exciting news for our preliminary ending of the year. If you will look at our fund summary, the next, we actually ended the year with, based on what we collected and what we spent out, in excess of $682,000 that will be rolled over into next year. Now, again, this is preliminary. Audit still is to come, and those numbers won't be finalized till November. The bulk of this is due to us having the availability of ESSER dollars, which again, we know this is the last year for it that we're in right now. So a lot of what we had budgeted, because we budget specifically all the expenditures we know we're gonna have, we are you saw that in the budgeting cycle, right on par for, like, we're spending what we're bringing in. But having those excess funds of grants right now has allowed us to save our general fund budget to be able to roll over for right now. So that's what that is a result of. And we had fantastic collection rates this year. So you can see all of them are above 100%. So that is great news. We collected all the taxes we budgeted.
And that's a
in
big shout out to our
excess.
partners too. The Sheriff's
Absolutely.
Department does a great job. I know you guys approved something in the fall to really help them, and talking to Sheriff Perdue, it allowed him to get such a high rate. So sometimes you pay a little bit more to get more on the back end. So I just want to, in a public meeting, give the Sheriff's Department a huge shout out.
So the rest of it is our standard reports that you all are used to seeing every month. I just got our annual report unaudited submitted to the state today. I just verified with Miss Brady before she walked out that she has submitted her tax roll to the state as well. So we're just waiting on the official approval. And once that happens, we will get our rates. So hopefully in the next couple of weeks, we'll be seeing those reports come in for our rates.
Awesome.
Yep.
Any questions, comments? We have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Bennett. I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Ashley, did you vote?
Yeah, I said aye.
Okay, sorry. Passes 5-0. Authorize payment salaries of accounts payable.
I'll make a motion to pay the bill.
That's caught on now. That's good.
Appreciate
Great
that.
job, Dorsey.
Motion by Mr. Dorsey,
I'll second.
second by Ms. Hall. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Passes 5-0. Consider approval of updated instructional stipend list. Ellis.
So the only thing that has changed on this is that we added preschool in Phoenix. When we redid the formatting of this, we realized that we left off those two schools, so we're just bringing this back, showing you we're adding that social media coordinator for both schools, and then Phoenix also gets the STC added for their school. So we're just putting that back on because they had that last year.
Okay.
So that's the only change.
Any questions? Make a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Hall. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passes 5-0. Consider approval of classified evaluation, administrative classified evaluation. Dr. Tamara Parrish.
Hello, the grand finale.
Yeah.
So, this is the last time, hopefully, that I'll bring these before you all in the paper version. We hope to have our evaluations digitally next year. That's our plan. And moving forward, the most significant changes we made was we got rid of the kind of ambiguous 1 through 5 rating scale, and we replaced it with very specified definitions and objective goals. So both are now really aligned for working your way up. We also included individual growth plans, so that way our classified staff has an opportunity to grow as well in their competencies. We added some evaluator comments to each performance indicator as well. Those are the most significant changes.
Any questions, comments? Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Ms. Hall. We have a second.
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Dorsey. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Passes 5-0.
Thank you.
Next item, staff under staff retention and recruitments, consider approval of policies 03.122 and 03.222 holidays.
So this would be a first reading request. This would really only change for employees that work 240 days or more, but we're requesting to add Juneteenth as a recognized holiday. So
And that's a federal holiday too.
it's been a couple of years, so we're catching up.
Yep.
Right, and I think there's a lot of, I noticed this year, some places were closed, some places were not.
Right.
I know the state's gonna probably try to do that for their staff because, like my office was closed, but other offices were on, and I think it's important to recognize that holiday
Thank
and
you.
the importance of it. I make a motion to approve unless someone else has a question.
We have a motion by Ms. Hall.
I'll second. Yeah.
A second.
Third.
A second by Mr. Dorsey. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Passes 5-0.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Next up is the superintendent's report.
All right, I'm gonna pass out a handout. It's got dates on there for all of our back-to-school activities. These will be posted on our website. You guys get a first glance, and that way you know what is happening where as we celebrate, absolutely celebrate our kids coming back to school. So we are very, very excited, not only the students and families that we know and love, but the students and families that are new to us because they want to be a part of Clark County, which we're shouting to the rooftops. Things that we're going to do for our kids and put kids first. So that's some information for you guys. A couple other events I'll kind of cover first. First day of school, opening day for staff is the 14th of August. Buses run on the 15th of August. We do have the updated start times. Those are out everywhere, so make sure if you don't know, go to an open house. They'll discuss it, or you can check what are now, I'm calling them world famous school handbooks that will be available online tomorrow morning. We'll have all the information in there. We do have our fall version of the Hall of Fame. Our committees met over the summer, took nominations from folks across the community. And we did select, we as in they, the committee selected 10 individuals. We'll reveal those and celebrate with their families at the opening football game. So we're calling the Hall of Fame Bowl. So we're working on transportation logistics. Got Mr. Snell, my logistics man, is going to make sure we get traffic in and out. So the entire community, if we got 10,000 people there, we'll try to accommodate it. We'll set them up in the gym to watch. But we're very excited again to celebrate not just athletics, but exemplaries, examples of what our kids should look forward to accomplishing once they graduate from Clark County Public Schools. Be doctors and lawyers and reporters and very successful so we can say, man, I got that in Clark County. I want to send my kids back to go to school at George Rogers Clark High School. And that's the vision. That's when you know you've made it, when your product wants their own children to go and to go through our schools pre-K. Joe Blanton will be happy I said that, through graduation in the state. So very excited about that. We are going on a district retreat tomorrow. We're taking our head principals and district staff to continue our work with our leadership standards, also making sure they have time to work with their teams, their assistant principals, to make sure we're prepared on day one to provide the best first experience for our kids. So we're doing that as a kind of a kickoff to the Kentucky Association of School Administrators Conference, which is the rest of this week. Moving forward, as I do a lot of these updates, we're going to talk about kind of tying into my evaluation, not just now, but how I grow and move forward. Looking at leadership standards for me, also looking at goals for the district. What are we trying to accomplish? We're going into closed session in a little bit. We're going to start that conversation. But really for me, looking at my strategic leadership, standard 1, instructional leadership, standard 2, cultural leadership, standard 3, human resources, standard 4, managerial leadership, standard 5, collaborative leadership, standard 6, and then influential leadership being standard 7. So setting up a little differently, so we'll tie that in some of these updates. Kind of the updates I gave you now include everything, because we're getting ready for school and doing some holistic things. But just want to let you guys know that's kind of going to be the format we're moving and using forward. I think it'll help you all too, with looking at where am I spending a lot of my time? Am I being eclectic, or am I spending too much time in one area? Or like I said, we have a nice balance of providing the leadership that we need in Clark County. So, questions?
Well, I heard there was some advertisement on TV today. You want to comment on that?
So we're working very difficult, not very difficult, it's very easy to brag on this district. I'm the luckiest man in the entire world. I tell people that all the time. But we were running some commercials on LEX. We've got them scheduled for the next couple weeks. Big shout out to Ms. Bush and her staff. Also big shout out to Smoke Signals, who helped us with the video. And on the commercial, it gives them credit, because we celebrate the things our kids do. A big shout out to Ms. Sandy Crosby as well for facilitating that process. So we didn't spend a ton of money, because we don't have to. Our graduates are going to be professionals in media, and we just get them to celebrate Clark County before they go down that road as professionals. So again, big shout out to that program. They pretty much made the whole video. So I just sit back and smile and watch our kids shine. So if you're watching certain shows, don't be surprised. Clark County's in your living room, because again, we're going to celebrate things our kids are doing.
Thank you.
Thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah.
I have, it's not necessarily a question, just a suggestion. As we open school with our new start times and bus routes, I have heard a lot of parents being really concerned about the times and getting between GRC and RDC, and then because we have a lot of families who go from Baker to, say, Justice or Concrete. And I know that the principals are here, and I know they'll be forgiving those first couple of days to the families till we all get into a groove. And I think just reassuring our community that we've looked at it, we've studied it,
Sure.
and we feel like this is going to work. And and of course there's going to be a few bumps, but we'll get it figured out.
Yeah, the other piece of information I'll point folks to are not just the start times, but also the door opening times for our schools. Our administrators are working very hard to put forth supervision plans, so you don't have to wait only in a 15-minute window to get kids dropped off and dealing with traffic, things like that. So please check those times. And there will be some kinks because we're making changes. However, to your point, we feel like we've got a good plan. We're hiring more bus drivers. We're putting more buses on the road. Bus pickups will not change. If anything, they might be a few minutes later because we now have time and we don't have to wait to make a turnaround run. So, but yeah, it's again, we're doing it. People ask, well, why did you do this? Well, I did this because I think it's best for kids. Period. That's why I make all my decisions. Now, are they all right? Well, I hope they're all right. But if not, we'll pivot and we'll get this thing right. But anyone in the community that asks, what's Dustin and I are thinking, I think it's best for kids. That's why I made the decision. Period. If it's inconvenient for staff or parents, we'll make adjustments we need. But my vision is, again, making sure our kids have the best, and I'm making decisions based on that.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we're on to consent agenda items. Anything that anyone wants to pull off or discuss?
On the art chairperson list, is it actual people? I guess is this for each school? Is that what that is? Because it didn't have names on it, it's just got
Just has the title.
the title, so it's just the titles, okay.
And it's done that way in case you have turnover mid-year.
Yes.
You're not having to reapprove certain individuals. It's if they hold that title, we're making sure they have the training and the background information to chair those meetings.
And with the sign language interpreter, we use that as needed?
Yes.
Just as, okay, gotcha.
Are we short on interpreters? Is that the reason we need, are we good or?
This is just in case one of them were to call in or need to take a leave of absence. We're just being proactive to
Oh,
have
okay.
a contract set up with them. But we do have
Okay.
two school-based employed interpreters for sign language. Again, it's just to be proactive.
Just, okay, thank you.
I'm good.
You good? Okay. Good. Anybody like a motion to approve the consent items?
So moved.
Okay, motion by Mr. Dorsey, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Hall, all in favor?
Aye.
Consent items. Ashley?
Aye.
Aye, thank you.
We're at-
Again, I think it's just a little lag, sorry. Pass 5-0. Next is consider adjournment to executive session for KRS 61.8101F, discussions or hearings which might lead to the appointment, discipline, or dismissal of an individual employee, member, or student. I'll make that motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second. Oh, go ahead.
Yes.
Second by Mr. Bennett. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Passes 5-0. And now closed session.
I want to meet the new principals. Like, I want them to come say hi.
This is exciting.
I am.